His mouth shifted into a curving line that only a charitable person would have called a smile as he jerked a thumb over his shoulder. "Out in those mountains, Mrs. Moran, a gentleman is less use than a handful of spit. But I wouldn't expect a fine southern lady such as yourself to understand that. We all know the importance you Virginians place on elegant manners." Caleb looked past her toward the wide doorway at the far side of the lobby. "Eddie and the widow Sorensen are waiting for us over there." A faint flush rose beneath Willow's translucent skin, a combination of embarrassment at her own accidental rudeness to him and anger at Caleb's intentional insult to her. She hadn't meant to demean him with her careless tongue. The long journey from her ruined West Virginia farm might have hardened the muscles of her 5 Arabian horses, but it had turned her own brain to pudding. Unhappily, Willow admitted that she deserved at least some of the bleak appraisal in Caleb's whisky eyes which at the moment were lingering with faint contempt on the fit of her clothes. The dress had been tailored for her in 1862, before war had wholly ravaged her family's farms and fortunes. New, the dress had more than allowed for each curve of Willow's budding body. 4 years later, Willow's curves had become more pronounced. The cut of the dress had stayed the same. As a result, the blue-gray silk pulled across her breasts and fit tightly around her waist. Yet it was Willow's only silk dress. She had worn it because she expected to meet a gentleman who would appreciate her gesture toward a more gracious time. She hadn't expected an unshaven gunfighter who would note only the bad fit of her clothes. Her chin came up slightly as she faced the man who so obviously didn't like her. "The war is over, Mr. Black. And you lost." Willow closed her eyes, then opened them. "Yes." The husky admission surprised Caleb, as did the sudden darkening of Willow's hazel eyes. Surprise at finding that his quarry, Matthew Reno Moran, had a wife, was giving way to the suspicion that the young woman with the tight dress and frankly sensual mouth was not quite what she represented herself to be. Reno's woman, surely, but his wife? Probably not. Nothing Caleb had learned about Reno since he began hunting him indicated that Reno was the marrying kind. Caleb looked Willow over again, taking his time, watching the color rise once more in her cheeks. The blush piqued his curiosity. Females like Willow couldn't afford emotions or pride, yet it was apparent she had both. Not for the first time, Caleb wondered what her so-called husband was like. What kind of fine Southern gentleman could both seduce an innocent like Caleb's sister Rebecca and inspire such passion in an experienced young thing like Willow that she was willing to pursue her missing man to the heart of the untamed West? With a shrug that made muscles shift and coil beneath the dark trail clothes Caleb wore, he dismissed his own curiosity. It didn't matter that Willow was probably a Miss rather than a Mrs. Nor did it matter what the elusive Matthew Reno Moran was like. Caleb had been looking for his sister Rebecca's seducer for 11 months. When he found Reno, he would kill him. "Shall we go?" Caleb asked. "Or have you changed your mind about finding your husband, is it?" Cool golden eyes looked at Willow's left hand, which was slender and without a ring. She flushed guiltily. She hated having to lie, but her brother's letters had made it clear that he was living in a wild, uncivilized place. A young woman traveling alone in such a place was at risk. A wife, on the other hand, had a husband's protection. Even an absent husband was enough to give other men pause. "Yes," Willow said, clearing